Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Shot of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes. Today we're talking about Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 4, the highest rated episode in Wheel of Time history. This one's called The Road to the Spear. And I'm here with Marshland Monster, a.k.a. James McCullum, who has just watched this episode right before we recorded. Ahoy there, James.
Ahoy, guys. Maybe not a good idea, because I'll tell you this, it's as good as all the other episodes. Don't understand why everyone's saying this is the best one.
I think it's what I kind of had in my mind when I thought about like the first inkling of a Wheel of Time TV show. Some of the first images that went through my mind were presented here on screen.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the big reasons that a lot of the book readers like it, because it represents the book well. But it didn't stand out to you as anything excellent?
No, because I think a lot of the stuff and revelations that are being presented are just things that I would assume would happen, or kind of, maybe it's because we've seen like because I get confused. We watched that sci-fi original pilot that we was shown like futuristic stuff from the way past. So have we seen futuristic stuff from the past in this series?
Only one glimpse of it.
Okay, because I could see like if people hadn't seen that, and then we see like way into the past, I should say, seeing all this sci-fi type stuff, people would be like, "Whoa, I'm blown away!" Like the imagery in this, fantastic. It's one of the coolest things ever that we've seen, and I think vibe heavy. This is very good, and maybe that's because like it feels like the book, as you were saying. But I probably shouldn't have done a watch along to this without also being able to watch it a second time, because there were times when maybe I was talking when I should have just been reading the subtitles. There were a lot of speaking in old tongue, so I was like, well, okay, I have to just stop talking and only read what's going on. Yeah. So I have some questions of like, yes, there are revelations and things that we're finding out of. The Aiel of today are different than the Aiel of 500 years ago, and way different than the Aiel of 3,000 years ago.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing different things in that variety. And I do have questions of like, what is the oath?
Right. Okay. Are you asking me straight up, or you want to wait till we get to that point?
Like, what's this oath? Like, what's the big thing that I should have taken away from that? Because that, for sure, I was a little confused on.
How about we just wait until we get to my notes? Because I specifically talk about the oath in my notes, and I wrote down like what the oath is. So instead of me fumbling through my notes right now, we're just going to talk about it, as we go along with the episode here.
All right. And I do have a prediction of something like an offhanded remark that was said that I think's going to be true.
You want to tell me now, or you want to wait till we get to it?
We'll wait till we get to it.
All right.
We'll billboard it, maybe. Yeah, there we go.
Right. Well, the reason I thought that you would love this so much, and the reason that, I encouraged you to do a watch along, was because not only were all the book readers coming out of the woodwork saying that they love this episode and they finally can be on board with the show. That was happening a lot online. But then in my own life, Heather loved this episode. Like, she was blown away by it and wanted to watch it again. Mm-hmm. And then Ted, who plays bass in my band, immediately texted me after watching this episode, and we got a little text thing going, and he was loving this. He said he'd never seen anything so amazing on TV before. He was just beside himself. And this was unprompted from Ted. He's just like, I know Steve likes Wheel of Time. And then Andrew, who I work with, ran to my desk, the day after it aired and was like, my God, that was like the best thing I've ever seen. So like all these things together is telling me like, wow, this episode is like really something. So I should have known that it would just be another Wheel of Time episode to you, James. I should have predicted that.
But also Corwin, who has read the books and has been on this show before, like he said, oh yeah, have you gotten episode 4 yet? I was like, no, but everyone's telling me it's the best one. So I think it was just too hyped up. Like everyone else just saw it and was like blown away by it. Whereas I think 2 weeks now have been being told like this is amazing. And I will say, I don't have your login on my computer, so in order to do a proper watch along to get the sound in, I would have needed to bring another TV in here that has a headphone jack and do all this miscellaneous stuff. So I just downloaded the episode. I'm sorry to say this, but like I have access to it. But in order to do it the way that I needed to do it, I needed to go through other means to obtain it. So I downloaded the wrong episode and I was like, wait, and seeing this like the episode I downloaded, just seeking through to make sure the file wasn't corrupted, I was like, all right, okay, I understand why people are saying like this is wild and crazy, because it's the one following just Perrin as they are ramping up for a big battle within the two rivers. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a wild and crazy one, but I was like, let me just double check that I downloaded the right one. I did not. So yeah, maybe that also kind of made it different but then I was like, yeah, I don't think Steve would be so blown away by just a 100% action episode.
Right. I am glad that you downloaded episode 7 because I was going to suggest doing this again with episode 7 because a lot of people that's like the second most popular episode of Wheel of Time right now was season 3, episode 7, The Battle of Two Rivers. Well, the episode's called Golden Eyes, and for these watch-alongs, what we're doing, James is recording himself on audio only. And if you join his Patreon at patreon.com/MLMpod, you can listen to that episode. Join the Patreon. It'll be there right after, this episode is released. So if you want to hear James's immediate thoughts and watch the episode along with him, and he does these a lot on his Patreon, but he did it specially for us for Wheel of Time. So if you want to listen to that, I know I do. I'm eager to listen to James's immediate thoughts as he watches it. It's just like riff tracks. You can listen to the audio while you watch the show, and it's exactly like riff tracks.
I mean, not exactly. That's pre-written material, and they're like professional comedians and such. Correct. They have a team of like 5 joke writers doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, people who are listening to this obviously know our voices and they obviously like us. So if you want to hear James expand upon this, go for it over at MLM Pod, over at patreon.com/MLM Pod. There you go.
Any dollar amount or any tier, I should say, it'll be available.
All tiers welcome. That's right.
All paid tiers. You can't go on to the free tier. It's not available there.
I accidentally joined twice because recently, I think you sent out a link for one of your episodes and I followed that link and the link led me to the Patreon. And then I think I joined the Patreon at the free level by accident.
I think so. And I was confused.
So yeah, I'm a $10 Patreon and I'm also a free Patreon, but I can't watch that watch along with my free episode. I got to do it with my paid subscription. So anyway, I'm ready to talk about this episode because I just watched it too. Woo. Are you ready to get into this, James?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Road to the Spear. That's what we're doing here. And I lied. There is one bit of news I wanted to bring up. I just learned this. Maybe some other people already knew this. The creator of the show, Rafe Judkins, is in a romantic relationship with Maxim, Alana's warder. They are in real life boyfriends. And I don't know if they met on set and that's how their relationship started or if there was a relationship and then this went on here. But the joke going around is that's the reason that Maxim has so much more screen time than Matt. Because he's in a relationship with the showrunner. But I thought that was fun news. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. We're going to start this episode out talking about Ran and Lan. They're practicing swords here. Very noisy swords as usual. I learned from the Game of Thrones universe that usually when guys do this and they practice swords and they practice fighting, they usually use blunted weapons or they use
Mm-hmm.
wooden weapons instead that are weighted just like a sword. But no, these guys just go for it. They use their nice swords and they sword fight with them.
Well, I'll defend them. They are not at the White Tower. They're out and about. It's not like they would have to have brought those other blunt swords with them to be able to train. And it's like, no, we're going to train with what we got.
That's a good point. Okay, I'll take it. How about Moraine's hat? Do you want to defend her hat anymore? She's wearing that hat again this episode.
Yeah, still Studio Ghibli vibes. To listen to the watch along, I mention it.
And we got a nice big smile from Rand here. He gives a huge smile at Lan at some point when Lan calls him lazy, I think. But yeah, I didn't have much about this scene. Of course, they're talking about, the fact that Rand's father was a swordsman. I didn't really have much else to go on this scene. Did you, James?
No.
Okay. Well, Egwene walks up and she and Moraine share a couple of words here. Like they're not best friends anymore. Yeah, the next scene we have the wise ones, and they're giving Egwene and Moraine literal water and shade. They're being really nice to them, and we're learning some more about their culture. We learn about the Gai Shan. I don't know if you picked that up or not, but like when the Aiel are at battle with other Aiel, it's more honorable to not kill them, but to touch them with the sword, or maybe like to draw first blood, and then that person becomes a Gai Shan. Yes.
Not with a sword. Stay a blade because they only fight with spear.
With a spear. A spear. Never pick up a sword. Thank you, James. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to wash my mouth out with soap now. Jeez, Avienda would be so pissed at me. But yeah, they instead will take their enemies, and their enemies will, in essence, be their servants for 1 year, called Gai Shan. And then once they've served their 1 year of being a Gai Shan, they're let go and they go back to their camp. And this is it sounds kind of weird, but in the books, it has a lot of benefits to it because these Aiel learn about each other's cultures by being like servants to one another. So when they go back to like their tribe, they're like, yeah, I just spent a year with these folks. These are these people. This is what they're up to, and they make their relations that way. And sometimes in the case of the Shidao, they might do that to a fault, perhaps. But for the most part, the Aiel, the cultures, all the little tribes, for the most part, get along with each other.
That'd be a good crumb bums. Henry, I wake up to Henry's claw at my throat and he says, I won't kill you. Then he just like touches me with his paw pad and he goes, you're my Gai Shen now. And I'm like, please leave. Let me sleep.
I hate to tell you this, but you're already your cat's Gai Shan. You like clean up its poop and you provide its food and water for it and its shelter. You're doing everything for your cat. So you are your cat's Gai Shan.
Yeah, but when I throw up, he cleans that up with his mouth.
Ew. Well,
I'm kidding. He doesn't eat. He eats his own throw up, not mine.
Yeah, Melissa does that too. It's always a mystery to me. I understand dogs doing it, but not cats. Cats are so much more dignified, but they do it anyway.
Butter once started, and it was like so gross, but also so cute, just because she's like a little dummy of just, I won't describe it at all, but like specific things. I was like, yeah, that's real cute. I want to throw up while looking at it, but her doing it is cute.
I know. Like I give Melissa so many passes just for being like a beautiful animal. But yeah, let's see. Back here, they being the wise ones, they tell Moraine that if they did not come, they would have died. And then Melaine gets ready to say to Moraine, if you do not go through Ruidian, oh no, I shouldn't have even said that. And then it's like kind of led on that like she probably shouldn't have even started that sentence because it seems apparent that the wise ones know a truth about Moraine and going through these rings. And if Moraine doesn't go through the rings, it'll be like a bad situation. And all in all, she needs to go through these rings. These ladies know it, but they're trying not to spoil it for her, so to speak. And Melanie is a very bad spoiler, just like me. Like she speaks before she thinks, I guess. That's all I have to say about that scene, I guess. Did you have anything with the wise ones meet up here?
No, I'm glad you are explaining things because I hate this for writing purposes. It's so far my only like big gripe with this series is with the wise ones. They're just answering things with other questions. And I'm like, dude, just don't say anything at all. Just be like, yeah, that's something you have to figure out. Don't posit more questions just to be mythical and magical, you know?
Yeah, I know. I hear you loud and clear, James. And I can't agree with you more. Yeah, we're going to cut over to Avienda. She's over here. It's nighttime now. She's scolding Rand and Lan for owning swords. One of these kind of deals. And we get another matchup here. We get another sparring match. This is a fun match between Lan and Avienda. It's spear versus sword. And we know it's fun because everybody is like hooting and hollering. Nobody's trying to stop it, or at least yet. They're smiling and laughing at each other. I thought that this scene and this episode is a reminder that it's not just a show with like special effects and magic and stuff. They're really into practical effects. They're really into stunts. They're really into fight choreography. And I'm seeing like a lot of this great fight choreography in this scene and other scenes, especially this like windmill move that they do where they whip their legs around and stand up and it looks like they're breakdancing kind of. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I see that like every time there's a fight scene in Wheel of Time, somebody does the windmill like that. So I think that's like must be their stunt coordinator's favorite move. It's got to be. But they're pretty evenly matched. I think it's pretty clear at one point Avienda would have won because she has her spear to Lan's throat. At another time, it's pretty clear that Lan would have won because he managed to steal a spear from her back. So they're very evenly matched here, and they're having a great time fighting. The wise ones, they throw water and shade all over this fight. They're not liking it. And we learn from this scene that Avienda's a runaway. She was destined to be a wise one. And the wise ones called her like one morning, like, you're going to be a wise one, Avienda. And she was like, nuh-uh. She ran away on this foolish quest to go find the Karakarn. Mm-hmm. It seems as foolish of a quest as going and hunting for the Horn of Valir. So it's not like she really, I mean, she succeeded in finding Rand and bringing him back. But I mean, that's just happenstance. She's a runaway in all essence.
I took what the wise one said after Avienda was saying, I am a maiden of the spear. That's what I'm here to do. And the wise one says, you went searching for the Karakarn and you found the dragon. Like, you did both at the same time. That clearly you should be a wise one because you had some divine sense to look for someone, and you found you went for a needle in a haystack and somehow you found a gold bar.
Hell yeah, dude. That's a great. I like the way you worded that. She immediately kind of accepts this too. Once she's faced with the wise ones face to face, she drops her spears. Bear like breaks them. Like the second she gets them in her hand, she breaks them.
Could have given that to someone else.
Yeah. Hold on to this for me, maybe. Or maybe these spears could be useful to another kid or something. I don't know. Let's just break them. Who cares? Really, the important part is the blade, not the stick, I suppose. But let's see. My whole point is that she immediately,
runs away.
Right. That's not what I was going to say. But she disrobes, takes off her warrior clothes, and just runs off. So she says, can I go to Viridian now? She's just all in it from the get-go. And the reason that I wanted to explain this too, the reason that she just ran off and went to Viridian and they didn't have this whole ceremony and thing like they did for Rand and Moraine is because she's a raised Aiel. Yeah. She already knows all about that stuff. She doesn't need anybody to guide her. She knows what to do. So that's why she ran off ahead.
It's very Ninja Turtles-esque where, I'm sorry, guys. It's either the first or second one when it's the second one. Splinter accosts one of the turtles and is like, yeah, do reps. And they're like, all right. And then they just start running and like doing flips and shit. They're like, I know exactly what you meant. I'm going to go do this. And then once my time's done, I will be back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I expected a different ending there, but yeah, that tracks.
Oh yeah, and then they see the future a thousands times, and then they're like, "Whoa, guys,
that's right.
I guess Shredder's gonna come back, and it's gonna no matter what we do is going every single time to slit my throat."
Look at all these different toppings of pizza we can get with each life. Wow.
And every single time we try to cut that, the pizza cutter slices my throat.
That's right. Well, before Moraine can die 1,000 times, she and Rand have to sit here and bicker for a little bit. It's nighttime. Rand's just sitting by the fire, just minding his own. And Moraine comes up, and it's clear that he doesn't trust her. She's using the wrong approach to try to gain his trust. Mm-hmm. It's just some bickering here. They're no good. Any thoughts about Rand and Moraine here at this point?
I really like how he says, say it as clear as possible so I know you're not doing that Aes Sedai fuckery.
Yep, and then she kind of does, and then he's like, nope, not good enough.
Yeah.
That's like me at work when I ask somebody to explain something like plainly, and then they start going into jargon talk and using like acronyms, and I'm like, wait, we were supposed to have plain talk here. What happened? Mm-hmm. We're going to go to sleep now. We're going to wake up the next day. It's the next day now, and the whole tribe is heading over to Viridian. And the tribe chief, Ruark, here is explaining to Rand how they become tribe chiefs and how they get this cool tattoo. And I was thinking to myself, why is he not like rocking that tattoo out in the sun? But he probably puts a sleeve over it to like protect it, to like so it doesn't get sun dampened or, tattoos like in the sun, they can fade. he doesn't want that tattoo to fade away. It's pretty sweet.
This doesn't really seem like a tattoo, at least when we see Rand get them.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like textured and kind of like embedded magically into you, which I say in the watch along, I was like, that would suck. I would constantly be messing with it and probably scratching up my skin to the point where, like, that's why I can't wear rings, is I will dig it into my skin and then it just starts bleeding, and then teachers are like, is everything okay at home? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have a constant like callus right here where my ring is because I'm always messing with it too. And if I had these same tattoos, I don't know if I would mess with them to the point they would bleed, but I would be fascinated to like be touching them and feeling the textures like you're saying.
Yeah.
I would probably never stop doing that. But yeah, you're probably right. But I just thought how shiny and nice they looked. And I was like, that's probably why he has a sleeve on top of it. So they stay nice and shiny like that.
Or so he doesn't mess with it.
That's right. Or maybe he's shy. I don't know. Ruok's not shy. Ruok's a tough dude.
No, yeah, he's whipping out his hog all the time.
Every time, dude. Yeah, and he gets a shout out from that Savannah later on too. But at any rate, Rand, if he is the Karakarn, which spoiler alert, he'll get him on both wrists and not just the left. He gets both. So he gets double sleeves.
And he's like, "Oh, the people of the dragon," and he's like, "Yeah, that's what we used to be called."
Yeah. It's kind of all tying together now. Oh, yeah. Another big thing here, too, is most people don't survive the trip to Ruidian. And we'll explain why later, but it's not a safe journey. As they approach the slopes of whatever that word Avienda said when she was like, I'll see you on the slopes of Kandahar. We get to the slopes, and there's the Shaido. They're already there in their tents. It's not a happy welcome. And we meet Savannah. She is like the wise one for this crew, and she has this giant thing on her head that she wears. And we meet Cooladon. He's the guy sitting there. He's the redhead with a nice eyeliner, and he's yelling at Rand, saying he's soft. And this was my question. Like, he was all like, yeah, if my brother doesn't survive, I'm going in. And then like Bear is like, nuh-uh, you got to ask first. What if they hadn't come? He would have definitely Savannah probably would have given him permission, don't you think?
Maybe. I thought you were going to mention how the guy who went in is the son of her former husband who had died, and now he's her husband, and her brother's like, oh yeah, if he doesn't make it back, I'm going in. And I was like, oh yeah, going in her as well, baby, because I guess she'll marry him too.
No, you got it kind of wrong. Cooladon and Ruiard, the guy that's inside there and tearing his eyes out, those are her stepsons.
Yeah, and I thought she said and now he's my husband now.
No, her husband died. She married a new dude, and these guys are her new dude's sons.
Oh, okay, all right, never mind. I thought husband died, then married one of her stepsons.
Oh, no. This is all above board. It's all above board. Don't think this is not Game of Thrones stuff. All above board. But yeah, that was my question. Because obviously that guy, Ruiad, his name sounds like Ruidian, but it's not. But the guy that's in there right now tearing his eyes out, that's Cooladin's brother. He's obviously not going to make it. So if our gang had not showed up, I guess this is another great coincidence or turning of the wheel that makes this happen. They would have sent Cooladon in right away. Savannah would not have stopped that. That's my impression. And I think I'm right. I think.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, this is not book knowledge I have here because, again, this is different stuff than how it's dealt with in the book and the show. So I'm not playing coy at all. I really don't know. We learned the wise ones are excellent channelers. I don't know if you already knew that before, that they could channel. Is this the first time you learned that?
Yeah, first time. I was like, wait, they're Aes Sedai? Not Aes Sedai. They can channel, use magic?
Yeah, because when Cooladon got ready to, take a rush at Rand for whatever reason, they stopped them with the one power. So yeah, there's these wise ones are just as powerful and can use the power just like the Aes Sedai do, but they have their own ways of learning. The wise one way of learning. So yeah, they strike out at Cooladon. They clear the tent out at this point because they're like, everybody's arguing. We need everybody out of here except for the wise ones and the people that are going. And Egwene's like, yeah, I'm sticking around. My boyfriend's going. They're like, girlfriends are not allowed. We're not going to let you go, Egwene. Sorry. So Egwene is not allowed to go.
Also, I would have been devastated if someone told me my spouse and my own path do not cross. I'd be like, that just is emphatically wrong. Like, no.
They're not saying their paths don't cross. That's not the reason she's not going.
They said that.
Egwene is training to be a wise one.
Oh,
so
okay.
she will go into Viridian at her own time.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. So the paths of just like the timing of their paths don't cross. Okay.
Yeah. And also, something else the wise one said that really made my ears perk up, and I'm not sure if it did to you or not. Rand says something along the lines of like, hey, I got Aiel blood in me. My parents were Aiel. Bear drops a little knowledge, and she says, your father, yes, but not your mother. So what did you catch that, and what do you think of that?
And I kept, because of the flashbacks that we see, I was like, wait, did she say his mom was Aiel, but his father wasn't, or was it the opposite? So I was confused because eventually they're like, you're no longer Aiel, all of that bullshit that we'll get to later. And yeah, so when I caught it, I was like, okay, yes, his father was, but his mom is, the queen's sister or whatever.
Right. But I mean, by all appearances, she appears to be Aiel there. She's in Aiel garb. She's with the Aiel. By first appearance, they both appear to be Aiel, but this is where, Bear corrects it. It's like, your mom, maybe not quite so. And maybe some people are picking up on that by this point. You definitely are. All of our listeners are. I think some people on the internet have not quite putting all those facts together yet. It's still out there.
It's like in the recaps, guys.
For the most part, yes, but it's that one key piece of information that woman with the red hair is the same woman that ran away. It's that key piece of information that hasn't quite been revealed fully yet. And that's what some people have figured out and some people have not.
Okay.
So they tell Moraine and Rand when they finally got their attention, everybody else is away. They're like, when women go in, they're going to see 3 rings. You're going to go through these rings and you'll see your future laid before you again and again in variation. And you'll see 1,000 lives and you will know what must be and what must not be. That's the spiel. And then for the men, for Rand and the boys, you're going to go walk through the glass columns. You're going to see through the eyes of your blood ancestors, because to lead is to know where you have come from, to understand your blood and to understand your traditions. Don't follow them blindly. So the first thing you might think, and that a modern viewer might think, is, what about, non-binary? What if a man went into the rings? What if a woman went into the glass columns? And that is an excellent question. And by all accounts, the answer is the exact same thing would happen. It's not like a man would die if he went into the rings or a woman would die if she went into the glass columns. I believe the same thing would probably happen to them, but you choose which one to go through. And I think that's the point. You have to choose one or the other. And by most accounts, the women are going to be wise ones and go this way. The men are going to be the chiefs and they're going to go this way. But I do believe that it could go vice versa because, and this is why I believe this, because Aes Sedai used to be men and women, used to be both men and women, but now Aes Sedai are only women. There's a specific reason for that because men go mad if they channel, but the fact is that men can be Aes Sedai. So I think that proves the point.
I'd do both. If I want to be a good leader, I better also see the future, go through those 3 rings and understand like, hey, what are women going through when they go through these 3 rings?
That should be a requirement for the Karakarn, I would think. Yeah. That's a really good idea, actually. I'm liking this idea. Before you can go through, though, you got to leave your weapons behind. And Moraine does like the classic tough guy thing where she pulls out like 1,000,000 knives that she keeps on her person.
I wanted there to be just 2 more times of her like, oh, wait, oh, yep. But then it's like, well, then that's veering into parody and comedy stuff. So maybe not.
I mean, I think it was kind of comedic, actually, the amount of knives she had. I chuckled. I sure did.
It is funny, but I think if they had done 2 more and then she goes, oh, wait, there's 1 more. Hold on, guys.
Yeah, that'd be very MCU-ish, I think. They would get called out on it. You saw all the spears that were like there. I believe there's nobody can determine if this is true or not, but I believe that all those spears are the people that did not make it, that left their weapons there and did not make it out.
That would be my assumption as well. Because it's not like with Rand, he might not take that sword back because now he's like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be wielding a sword. all of these are spears, so you would assume they would take their spears back.
Right. Yep. Because the way they were lined up, it almost looks like it's an entrance, like that they were put there as like a barrier of some sort.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty positive that that's like the people that didn't make it out. But yeah, we're here in Ruidian. We gotta stress it's a massive city of clouds. And as they enter it, it becomes clear to Moraine that it's not just clouds like mist or fog. It's like tiny threads of the one power that are completely surrounding this city. So this city is basically, in essence, a city of magic.
Mm-hmm. It ruled. She said a dry fog. I was like, that's just smoke. I don't like that. But then when she explained, oh, it's magic, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this.
My favorite shot, because I missed this shot when I've watched this episode 4 times now. And the first 2 times I watched it, I was taking notes and taking things in and thinking about you and thinking about, Heather and all kinds of stuff. And the 3rd and 4th time is when I was like watching it, not taking notes, just watching it. And I noticed like for the first time that when Rand and Moraine walk in, they're so tiny. And there's these giant gates that they walk through, big city walls that must be hundreds of feet tall. And with these statues that are also hundreds of feet tall perched on top of them. And I love that image. I took screenshots of it, and I'm probably going to use it as a background for something. But right in the center of this place, we got the Tree of Life. Avienda Sora is what it's called. Kind of sounds like Avienda. Avienda Sora is 3,000 years old. Rand immediately finds peace sitting beneath this thing. And Moraine gives us a little bit of history about this cool tree. She says that Aiel gave a sapling of Avienda Sora is what I should be saying, to Karheen hundreds of years ago. Then Moraine's uncle, just so happened to be her uncle, chopped down that tree to make a throne for himself, to make a point. This insulted and angered the Aiel, and they declared war on Karheen for that and started the Aiel War. And this is the whole reason that Rand was born at the slope of Dragon Mount. This is the whole reason that his family, his mother came. Otherwise, she would have stayed in, the Aiel Waste. The only reason that she was out of that Aiel Waste was because of this war. So Moraine and Rand have this strange connection that they've had since before birth.
Yeah.
And we learned that this tree is not, of course, not the same tree that was chopped down. This is like, it was a sapling from this same tree, because all these trees kind of came from the same place, which we learn as we go in this episode. What's a gossamer? That's the first thing I wanted to know is like, what the hell is a gossamer, James?
I had the same exact question, said it on the watch along.
Okay, you didn't find out though?
No.
Okay, all right. I thought maybe you would know, and I was just going to ask you. Maybe we should Google it for the listeners, because I was very curious what a gossamer might be. I don't know.
Keep going. I will look it up.
Thank you. So the first thing that happens here is Rand enters into those cool glass columns that are making that super cool noise. That's what Heather liked the most, was like the audio of this episode and like all the cool noises inside Ruidian. Here we see Couladin's brother, Muradin. That's his name I couldn't say earlier. He's not doing well. He's not doing well at all. It looks like he's in the middle of a huge panic attack and he's screaming. He doesn't like these visions that he's seeing. And that's the whole point of Ruidian. It shows you these very uncomfortable visions of your past and of your family's past. And a lot of people can't handle it. And it looks like Muradin is one of those people that can't handle it. So we're getting ready to enter in with Rand's visions. But first, James, what the heck is a gossamer?
Any sort of thin, fragile, transparent material like sheer gauze or a light cobweb.
Okay, it sounds like an animal to me.
So Gossamer is also the big red individual from Looney Tunes?
Oh, really?
Like big red hairy guy?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's his name, Gossamer?
I believe so.
All right, well, maybe that's who Moraine was talking about then. But they do kind of look like cobwebs, thin, stringy thingies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Rand is getting ready to go and get his first vision. He's taking those long, slow motion footsteps right now. And James, would you rather go through these like sequentially, like as they appear to the viewer, or would you rather start at the year 3000 and come current?
At first, I was going to say let's go chronological, meaning like let's start from the beginning of time and go to where Rand is now. But let's go how we saw it within this episode.
Okay, all right. Well, the first vision, it's pretty straightforward, and I got to say that our boy Joshua Stradowski played 7 different characters in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So he did a great, I mean, some of them look kind of funky. I think in one case, like the prosthetics on his face looked kind of kooky, but there was only, for the most part, I thought he did a great job of portraying different characters distinctively different. And yeah, good job, Joshua. If he's listening, thank you, Joshua. So the first vision's pretty I mean, it's pretty straightforward. He's transported back to the Aiel War, which is a pretty current thing that happened within his lifetime. Shortly after his mother gave birth to him at the base of Dragon Mount. When I say shortly, I mean like maybe 30 minutes after she gave birth to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Tam came along and took Rand. But before that happened here, or after that happened, we're seeing everything through the eyes of a dude named Janduin, who is the clan chief of the Tardad Aiel. Also, he's Rand's biological father. He finds his wife, Tigraine, dead where we last saw her at season 1. So she had already given birth. She had already died. The baby had already been taken from Tam. And he's talking to her corpse right now, pretty uncomfortably, in my opinion, telling her that he took the life of the Oathbreaker King. You know, he killed him with his own spear. He killed the main guy. I'm a big, tough guy. But he finally accepts the fact that his wife is dead and his child is missing, and he screams his anguish. So we're seeing Rand's dad here. That's his first vision. So we see some cool fights too, man. I like when he puts those 2 spears in the guy and spits on him. Might have been my favorite moment of the episode, perhaps. Sweet Shot of Time is brought to you by Zencastr. Zencastr is the way we record Sweet Shot of Time. We hook up with our guests via video and we record it on audio. Recently, we've been doing video podcasts with the cast of Time Bandits. It's easy using Zencastr. You can record video or audio. You can also edit your podcast or your video via Zencastr. Join Zencastr using my promo code Sweet Child of Time and you can get 30% off Zencastr. If you're ready to start your podcast, it's time to share your story. Share it with Zencastr. That promo code once again, Sweet Child of Time at Zencastr.com. Do you have anything before we move on to his second vision?
No. So is the second vision also his dad and his mom?
No, because every step that Rand takes in each vision takes him further and further back.
Okay, then my theory, because this one dude says like our son and our daughters, I was like, oh, does that mean Rand has 2 sisters? And I was like, oh, maybe that's the 2 Aiel that were hanging out with Perrin.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, that'd be
fun,
sweet.
That's not the case, though.
Dang it.
I mean, it could be the case. I don't know, but they're definitely they were definitely not shown in this vision. I can confirm that. The second vision we're seeing is a dude named Mandian. This is a clan chief who lived at the same time that Ruidian was being built. So Ruidian has been here for hundreds of years. So obviously, this is going to be hundreds of years in the past. Another one of Rand's ancestors, Mandan here. So his wife, the really cute Seldry here, is saying that she spoke to the Aes Sedai in a dream, or the other clan chiefs, and that they're supposed to be here at Ruidian, and that all the clan chiefs are being called. And they were told this in a dream. All these wise ones and Aes Sedai at the time all had the same dream, and that's why they're here. So, you know, there's no other way they could have connected and known this about each other, because these cultures are like hundreds of miles away from each other, but they connected by dreams. So Mandian's like, okay, I'm here to do it. He goes in the city. He speaks with the other gathered chiefs here, and there's this ancient Aes Sedai woman there. And let's see, I'm supposed to know her name. It's not in my notes. It's okay. It's the cool Aes Sedai with the white on, and she has that multicolored necklace. And she has that white sphere that we're going to call the Soccer Man, the Socceron. And she plants this at the center of the Avensor tree, and she lets them all know the reason that they're here. It's like, if you follow a tradition, you have to know exactly what the tradition is. Because so often, like the Aes Sedai up in their White Tower, they follow these traditions, but they don't know why they're following them. They just blindly follow them. Okay, we have 7 Ajas of these different colors, and all these colors mean this. And why is that? I don't know. The Aes Sedai don't know. They just follow these traditions. These wise ones are a little more wise, and they make everybody their leaders. They have to know why they follow these traditions. So the main thing too is like they keep referring to the Aiel as oath breakers, and she wants them to know exactly what the oath is that they have broken. And James wants to know this too. And that oath is revealed in the fifth vision that we'll get to eventually. Right now, we're still in the second vision.
No.
But in the fifth vision, they'll reveal what the oath is and who broke it. So yeah, I thought this was amazing. A great opportunity to like learn your roots and the necessity of like learning why you follow tradition. Because I've always been the guy that's like, why do we do this? And if somebody says it's because it's tradition, I reject that answer. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm going to pause and give you a chance to catch up. Do you have any questions? Because this was a pretty cool vision here with all these Aes Sedai and all the chiefs coming in for the first time to Meridian to experience it. So yeah, any comments from you before we go on to the third one?
No, just that when the city became covered in this cloudy mist, that effect, just the special effects in this were really good. And yeah, like I said, visually, this episode was fantastic. And then I didn't take notes because I only watched this once as a watch along, and there's so much that I'm like, did I miss something? What's going on? So that's why I'm just kind of laying back. And if I need clarification, I've been jumping in and being like, whoa, wait, hold on. But I really just need Steve to explain this episode to me.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing. And I agree. Like this one episode has so much like choreography, stunts, costume design, set design, special effects. Like they put so much into this one episode. Not to say that the other episodes like pale in comparison, because they don't, but it just seems to me like their budget probably went like 25% of it went to this one episode, I'm sure. But third vision, this one is probably the most important vision. I wouldn't say it's my favorite vision out of Rand's 5, but it's definitely the most important one to the Aiel. What happens here is he's a long-distance family member named Lewin, and this is, of course, before Ruidian is even built, before Ruidian is even a thing. So this is hundreds of years before that. And it looks like he's like a hobbit or something. He's like crouched underneath of that tree, looking all cute and dreamy. But that's exactly what this tree does. Like it gives you peace beneath it. His friends are making fun of him. They pull him out of there. And this reminds me a lot of Rand, Mat, and Perrin. And I think that's supposed to be like obvious. I don't think this is Rand and Perrin's relatives. I mean, Mat and Perrin's relatives, but I mean, it's like history repeats itself. These three dudes just get along, and that's just their vibe. I do believe that's intentional. So Lewin's mother finds him and his friends, and they say that bandits have taken his sister and one of her sister's friends. And Lewin, of course, wants to go rescue them, or he wants to do something. He's like, what? Sister? What? But then the Tuathan way, the Aiel way at this time is just to, all will be well. We're just going to take our lumps and move on. Like, we just got to accept this. No violence. We're not going there to do any violence because violence hurts your soul. If you're the one hitting someone, it doesn't matter what the cause is. It doesn't matter that it's revenge or if it's righteous or if you're rescuing someone. If you're doing violence, it's wrong.
Then Jason Statham comes in and he says, I'm a working man. I won't have any of that. And then the Geico Lizard's there, same voice, and he's like, I won't have any of that either.
But if we do, I can get you insured. All right. Lewin decides to ignore that, though, and decides that they're going to sneak into the camp and save the girls. They're not planning on being violent. They're just like, we can't just sit here and do nothing. Let's go get them. So it's a botched attempt from the beginning. They're not being quiet. They're not being sly. A guy comes out, wakes up, and stabs one of them. And Lewin doesn't know what to do. He's like in a flurry here. He grabs a sword just like out of pure defense, pure just, he's not, doesn't have malice in his heart, but that's exactly what he does. He ends up killing a man. His friend Charlin is unfortunately dead. He gets killed. He gets a blade in the gut. So they take his corpse back, met by his mother. And this is a pretty tough scene. This is when a mother decides she says, you can't be my son. If you did violence, you killed a man, you and your friend here, Because it wasn't just Lewin. It was also his buddy also did some violence, and they're both shunned. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, why did they shun his friend Luca? Like, he didn't do anything, but he did. He did violence as well. He was right there beside him. So he's an accomplice. He's not just he didn't just observe it. He took place in it. But yeah, his mom is like, you're an oath breaker now, like a double oath breaker. You have killed someone, so you can't be my son. And I don't ever want to see your face again. And so to this day, this is why that the Aiel cover their face, is because of this moment, because this mother did not want to see the face of her son that she once loved, and now he's a killer.
She says, which is very impactful, that I once had a son with your face, so I don't want to associate the face of a killer with the face of my former son.
Right. And yeah, Lewin and Luca are not just going to run off. They want to stick with them, but they can't show their face, obviously. They want to protect their family because they know their family can't protect themselves. So they have determined that they are now going to be their protectors. They're going to follow behind. They're still going to stick with their sword thing, that they don't like swords because they don't like weapons at all. But then at the same time that Lewin does the face thing during that whole battle scene, not battle scene, but when they try to rescue the girls, that's when he determines a spear, you can go hunting with a spear. And that's what we do anyway. We hunt. So a spear's not a weapon, really. So let's kind of squeak that one by. So they're going to use the spears as their weapons because the spear can double as a hunting device.
As they said that a sword is only a weapon, whereas a spear has multiple uses. Right.
Yeah. I kind of equate the sword with a gun, basically. It's like gun safety because what else is a gun for? I mean, you could say that a gun is for hunting or for target shooting, but really the purpose of it is to kill something.
I would say a rifle compared to a handgun or an assault rifle, whereas if someone has just a bunch of rifles and they go hunting, I'm like, that person I find normal. A person with a bunch of handguns, I'm like, no, that's for a specific reason.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that distinction. That's absolutely true. Thank you.
Now, a musket, I'd say that's where it all goes bonkers. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah,
you're not, no one's hunting with a musket, I guess. So, no, that also falls in line with a handgun.
Yeah, absolutely. These peaceful Aiel have now divided at this point. So we still have the Aiel they're considered Aiel, they're in their wagons. But now we have these other two guys that are following behind them that are also Aiel. So this is where we have a distinction between the Tuathan or the Tinkers with the Aiel. So yeah, I kind of blazed through that a little, I don't know, haphazardly. Did you have anything else you wanted to add or anything we wanted to know before I moved on from that scene?
No, let's keep trucking, baby.
Okay. Let's check in with Moraine. How's the girl party going? Moraine, we check in with her and she's kind of feeling the ground. It's shaking, a little bit of vibration going on. She goes over to the Avensora tree and she removes that soccer man guy, that white device that was in the base of it. This is what Andrew, who I work with, had a question about. He thought that was kind of a strange move. He was like, why did she steal that thing? And my response was, well, she didn't steal it. She removed it because it was put there for a specific reason. It was put there to work in conjunction with the Sword of Kalendor. So this is not necessarily a theft or even a borrowing situation. I think she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. You agree. Good.
It's there to be used by the Aes Sedai, and if Aes Sedai never go there or also are told, never said hey, yeah, you're allowed to go in there. When one is told, yeah, go in there, there has to be purpose if she then senses this thing and is like, oh yeah, this was left here for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That makes a lot of sense to me. I just made that connection myself. Maybe the wise ones already knew about this. All right, well, she goes to the rings and she can see that Avienda's already there. She's still in the rings. She's floating around. I learned today that the reason that the rings are the way that they are and the way that you float inside of the ring like that was determined because Rosamund Pike went and got what's called a underwater massage because she's a rich lady. So she gets to do rich lady stuff. And she got this thing where she was floating in the water while someone was giving her a massage, and they would like spin her around, and she felt like she was just floating in midair. And when she explained that experience to somebody on like the Wheel of Time, they decided to use that image for this scene. So that's something that I learned about today. That was neat. But yeah, Avienda's floating around in there. Moraine steps in and she immediately starts floating too. And she begins her journey. And this is when we really get cool. This is when we get those 360 pans with Moraine. I really like her journey a lot. And we see a bunch of things happening. Sequential order. First, we see her and Swan in a fish hut. And Moraine's just like, "What's wrong, love?" As Swan's approaching her in a very dark image. Then we see Moraine as the Amarillan seat, Egwene as the keeper, and they kill Rand in the hall right there.
Oh, yeah.
We see a scene where she releases Lan from his bond. And then the very next scene, she bonds Rand. And then the next scene after that, we see Lan on fire. He's burning. And Egwene is the Amarillan. She's the one that burned Lan. And Egwene attacks Moraine. Then we see Moraine finds Rand dead in the desert. Then we see Moraine kill Rand in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
And then we see Moraine bowing to Rand in the Two Rivers. We see them in the Two Rivers, and she's dedicating her life to the dragon. So these are a lot of possible turns of the wheel that could have happened, that could have been our show. Any standouts to you, James?
Not really. I do. Are any of these what happens in the book?
Let me reread.
Because that would be cool to be like, let's show, yes, this is another interpretation of how the wheel spins. That's why things aren't like identical to what's in the book. It also lets you be able to do stuff that you couldn't actually do in a show logistically because of budget or just technology and whatnot. And I wonder, it would have been cool to be like, all right, we are about to show you as this turns. This is the book. And then it turns over to be like, oh, yeah, it could have went down that way because it has went down that way if you're a book reader.
I'm going to answer that and say, no, not really.
Okay.
I mean, somebody might be able to stretch one of these visions and say that kind of came true, but not really.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say no.
Was it the one where her throat gets slit? Which one, James?
You'll never know, James. I can't say because it would be a spoilery thing. We're slipping away from Moraine. We're going back to Rand because that's the way the show does it. After that, we see Rand's fourth vision. And this is when he looks like Jim Gaffigan. Remember when he's a blonde-haired guy? He's like somebody's granddad. His name is Joni here. And he is in the wake of a devastating attack on their wagon caravan. So this is just like the previous vision. This is an earlier wagon caravan. And this is when they really follow the way of the leaf. Nobody's, oathbreakers at this point. So they've had this tragedy happen and they're getting ready to pass ways. And we're hearing the Tinker phrase again. We bury our dead and go on. What else is there? This guy, Jonah, wants to take the Aiel across the spine of the world where they can build a city of peace. That's his whole goal. He's like, I got this tree, this sapling that they gave us a while back, and I want to go, make this city happen. Ruidian, of course, is what his goal is. But after this attack, the other in his group were like, nah, we can't do that. We're going to travel south where it's a little more safe, where there's more cities. So we're going to split up here. And so this is another way that the Aiel have parted ways in the past. This is the split of the Daishan, who will eventually become the Tuatha, go south, and then the Aiel, who are going to Iridian, are going towards the west. So at this point, we have the tree, and we have the old man and a little boy trying to pull this heavy-ass wagon uphill. And apparently they do it because Iridian gets built, but it looks pretty sad. It looks like a fool's mission to me. But, I mean, these fools get it done. So, yeah, I think I explained that really poorly. Do you have anything there, James, to help me out?
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, I guess so. I paraphrased what I should have just read exactly what I wrote because I was paraphrasing. I don't know why I can't just read. I have a problem with that. I always have to make up new words as I go. It's my fault.
It was fine.
I'm fine. So I'm going to go on to the fifth vision. This is number 5, baby. Latra Sedai. I wrote her name in my notes. That is the same woman that we saw in Ruidian. All white, old woman, colorful necklace. had the Sakurman in her hand. That was Latra Sedai. Now we're seeing Latra Sedai again in the fifth vision. That's the Aes Sedai we see here, looking nice and young because this is like hundreds, thousands of years ago. So Rand's vision now is he is a guy during the breaking of the world. Wait, is this the last vision? No.
No. It's second to last.
Second to last. Although this is the last one. So Rand is here during the breaking of the world at the Age of Legends. This is when they send the 10,000 wagons from the city to go and plant the Avensora tree. So they have all the wagons ready to go, but before they go, the main guy here that Rand is in I didn't catch Rand's name in this vision. I'm just calling him Rand because he looks like Rand. Looks like a Star Wars kind of Rand here.
Say Rancester.
His Rancester is entrusted with that crazy white orb, the Sakurman that Moraine eventually got. So he is handed it at this time. This is the first time this thing has left the city. The other Aes Sedai that's with Latra is like, whoa, you want to give this to these Tuathan, these peaceful people? That's not a good idea. Latra is like, no, this is exactly who we need to give it to. These are the people that can keep an oath. So this is at the time that they swear the oath. They swear that they will take this Sakurman and take the pieces of this Korra tree and go and create Ruidian. That is the oath. Let's see if I can read what I wrote here. The Aes Sedai entrust the object to the man and the people that would become the Aiel and the Tuathan. She urges them to keep moving, never stay in one place for too long until you find a place of safety, which is what Ruidian will eventually be. They swear the oath that they will do this. So that is the oath that they swore originally. And I want to know, why is he whipping that horse so mean? That's my last note. Like when they leave and they pack up and like he's with his boyfriend and they're like, yeah, let's go do this. And then he whips that horse and he has this mean look on his face. I didn't like that part.
Yeah, me either. But how did they break that oath? Like some of them obviously broke the oath, but then others didn't. So I'm curious as to how.
That's an excellent question, because what I wrote here, like the oath was for them to keep moving, never stay in one place for too long until they find a place of safety. So I guess the ones that settled down and are not continuing to keep moving, maybe, because that is one of the things is like you don't stay in one place for too long until you find a place of safety, which I would think is Ruidian. But the Aiel Waste, of course, is not a place of safety. Like the Aiel are warriors. I think basically the main oath is that they picked up weapons and started using weapons.
Okay.
I believe that is the main oath that they broke, is that they started being violent.
Yeah, I guess because we see that like throughout this entire time, they are peaceful up until the second flashback. I think it was second or third, whichever one. And then you can assume like, oh, well, you want to know, it's just those two Aiel are just going to be protecting it. But eventually they kind of outnumber the peaceful Aiel, and the peaceful Aiel aren't the ones who eventually create Ruidian.
Right.
So like so I guess it's just that.
Yeah. And I think this is neat too. Like the fact that they all came from the same place, because you have these two like completely opposite types of people, like completely peaceful, almost to a fault, and then completely violent, almost to a fault. And they're both parts of the same whole. So I think that's like a really neat that like each person has that potential inside them to go either way. So yeah, that's kind of what I take from it anyway. But then we go right on to Rand's final vision. And this is the one where he is a really peaceful looking young man named Charn. And he is firmly in the Age of Legends here. This is not during the breaking of the world where like, stuff's in turmoil. This is like when the world was at the most peaceful time. Mm-hmm. And Charn is the assistant of the Aes Sedai, Mirren Sedai. You might recognize her. She later became Lanfear, but here she is still Mirren Sedai, scientist, philanthropist, with the best of intentions. She wants everybody to be able to access the power. And so she has the best of intentions here for equality, but eventually, it doesn't go quite the right way. They have the little conversation here, And she's explaining to him what she has done with her discovery, that she can take the thinnest part of the pattern and tap into the true power, and she can break through to the other side, so to speak. So they're in this floating sphere that looks like the Death Star, kind of. This is like a time of the world where like magic and nature like worked together. And his whole family is down there, and they're cutting down the wheat, and they're singing like the song, James. This is the song.
Do you remember the song?
I remember it now because I just jammed to it. And you don't get this from the show, but apparently the song is also the way that the wheat is in its final state of harvest. It's like it doesn't reach that final peak until it hears the song. Then the wheat reacts, and then you slice it. So that's why they're singing the song to the wheat right now. Not just having fun, but it actually serves a purpose as well.
Ooh, and that's very prophetic or symbolic, because we're seeing it being sung at the kind of end of this wheel's time.
Yeah, exactly. Before this, though, like Mirren is like, hey, you want to go down there and do some heavy labor with your family one last time? And he's like, yeah, this sounds fun. I want to go be a farmer. Because for them, this is like, you know, me and you getting together and playing music or something. This is, it's not just a chore. Like they see this as like a religious experience, and it's also a sustenance. It's all kinds of things rolled into one, not just manual labor. I'm being cheeky when I'm saying that. Rand's ancestor dude, Charn, goes down there, and he's all happy joining in the song. But then Mirren does her trick up there. She's like, okay, here we go. I'm going to tap into the true power with my little thin thread here, and it's going to be awesome. But instead, what happens is she creates a boar. This is what is called the boar, and that is what screwed up the world to begin with. We can lay that at Lanfear's feet now, because this thing she broke led to the literal breaking of the world, and we can see the world as it's literally breaking. Eventually, what's going to happen after this is Dragon Mount's going to be raised. The Earth is going to be completely different after this point, and we're watching this as it's happening. This is the kind of stuff that the other dude couldn't handle, Cúladon's brother. He's seeing all these things, and I think a lot of these clan chiefs, these potential clan chiefs, go through the glass columns. They see these things, and it's like such like an affront to them and their way of life, and they can't handle the fact that they are themselves oath breakers, because they all hate the Tuathan. They think the Tuathan suck. And then they're like, I am Tuathan. Like my great granddad was Tuathan. I guess it freaks them out so much they claw their eyes out. Not Rand, though. He collapses on the ground here, and we see both the tattoos come up. He's got two cool tattoo sleeves. So I guess we can pretty much assume that he's the Carcon at this point, and he's the real dragon, right?
Mm-hmm. I also liked in the 5th flashback that they bring up Lanfear of saying, like, we can trust these folk because they're peaceful. Like, why would you think we could trust an Aes Sedai? And Aes Sedai is the reason why we're in this mess to begin with. So,
exactly.
Like, no one can be trusted. At the same time, anyone can be trusted.
Yeah, good catch, because I didn't catch that particular thing either. So, yeah, perfect, man. You only saw it once and you caught that. I think you're a better TV watcher than I am, James.
By this time, I was sort of reading out loud all of the, like, if it was old speak, I was like, all right, I need to just shut my mouth and only focus on what's going on, or I will be 100% lost.
Let's see. Lost. Here we go. Rand is lost. He just came out of the glass columns. He saw all his visions. He's got tattoos now. He's the mighty Carcorn. He finds Avienda, and, you know, first thing he does is apologize. He's like, hey, I know now things that I have never known in my life. I'm so sorry that I ever said anything weird to you. Like, I'm sorry for existing, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Avienda's like, that's cool. I'm out of here. She leaves. Rand is like, I'm going to stick around and wait for Moraine because she's still in there. I think it's really weird that Avienda left here. And I think it's significant, too, because up until this point, she goes where Rand goes. She follows Rand. The reason that she's even here now is because she insists blindly on following Rand. Even though she's in love with Elaine, she left Elaine to follow Rand just out of duty. So now, after she went through the rings herself, which we haven't seen her visions yet, but after she's gone through the rings, she leaves Rand behind. And we find out later on, after talking to Egwene and Lan, that Avienda leaves. She arrives in camp. And it's not till 2 days later that Rand and Moraine come. So Rand waited for 2 days for Moraine to come out of the rings there.
Oh, I thought it was a total of 7 days, and Avienda was in there for 2 days. She showed back up, and then it was 5 days before they showed up.
Just the exact opposite. 7 days total. Avienda had a 5-day experience. Rand and Moraine had 7-day experiences.
Okay.
Or I should say Moraine was in there for 2 extra days doing her thing. But I just thought it was odd that Avienda left Rand. But then as I was explaining that to you, I was like, oh, that makes total sense because now she's a wise one. She doesn't need to follow Rand anymore. She has her own wise one path to go on now.
Or she saw some shit and she's like, oh, you want to know what Rand might... In all these other things, he slit my throat. So maybe I should distance myself for a little bit. It's like waking up from a bad dream where someone was very mean to you. And then for the next 10 minutes, you're like, oh man, fuck that person. Then you're like, wait, no, that didn't happen. It's just a dream.
Hell yes. All right. Moraine's dream, though. This is not her dream. This is her experience in the rings. We go through a second turn of the rings with Moraine. This is what she sees. The first image is... I said I like the image of when Rand stabbed the guy with the 2 spears and then spit on his corpse. That was cool. I take that back. That whole scene where the gang is dark friends and they kill Moraine and they're all dressed all gothy. I mean, that was top notch. I love that scene.
And they're in the ways?
Yeah, exactly. They're in the ways there. There's really good screenshots of all of them in their full costume. They posed for a photo shoot after they were dressed like that. Mm-hmm. So definitely check that out. They look awesome. But we see them as dark friends. They kill Moraine. Then we see Rand and Moraine in bed as lovers. Then we see Moraine and Lanfear in bed as lovers. But then Lanfear kills Moraine in bed.
Oh, yeah.
Then we see a whole bunch of Lanfear killing Moraine. Lanfear kills Moraine in the tower. Lanfear kills Moraine in a city. Lanfear kills Moraine in the desert 13 times, I counted. Lanfear kills Moraine in the Hall of the White Tower 3 times. And then a Peloton ad came up.
That didn't happen for me, guys.
That pissed me off that I saw a Peloton ad right after that. But yeah, it looks clear that Lanfear is just killing the hell out of Moraine, life after life after life. So yeah, I'll take a pause before I go on there. Any comments yet, James?
Maybe now she'll see, shouldn't be working with this woman.
Yeah, that's right. They've made an alliance earlier. This is a pretty good reason not to be in that alliance still. Yeah, okay, next up after this, after the Peloton ad, Egwene and Lan are at a fire. They talk about the length of days that me and James just talked about. I wrote here in my notes, Lan weeps. We get a little bit of Lan weeping this episode. We get I don't know, this Lan is a much different Lan from the books. And I'm going to say I like this TV version better. I'll go on record as saying that. I like this TV Lan much better than the book Lan.
Yeah, because at first I was like, well, he has that bond with her. He knows she's alive, but he probably at this moment was like, or this could be showing oh, she's out of it. So maybe he all of a sudden is feeling all this tragedy and that's why he starts crying. Or he's like, wow, she's an Aes Sedai, so possibly she could just be there forever. She doesn't really need as much substance as other people, or maybe not forever, for so much longer than other people and still be living. So he might just be dreading that of wow, this could be an existential dread for years that I will be experiencing, and that will mess me up for life.
Yeah. He's worried, yeah, and he should be. I mean, I would be too. She doesn't look great. We finally see her because he comes in the morning just like he's supposed to. This is another prophesized thing. He comes from Meridian in the morning, carrying Moraine Sedai in his arms. No words are spoken here. I really like this scene a lot, and I also learned today. I watched some of the behind-the-scenes stuff earlier today. And there was dialogue that they had during this whole part, but they decided just to cut the dialogue out and just have it be a silent scene, which I think was wise. But basically, we know here that the basic gist is Rand and Moraine have now led many lives. They're much different people now when they went in. They weren't getting along great when they went in, and Moraine was being pretty haughty and pretty clip with everybody, not being the best pal to her friends before she went in. Hopefully next episode, we'll see her in different spirits. They play us Metallica's Nothing Else Matters as our go out music, or at least it sounds like Metallica. I thought it was interesting. One of my biggest call outs here is, Rand hands over Moraine to Lan, and then Egwene goes to greet Rand, and she's fully looking in his eyes, looking at his face, searching for something. And Rand is just looking at the ground. He's not looking at her. And they embrace and they hug, but he still has this kind of really 1,000-yard stare on his face. I thought that was really neat, the way he couldn't meet her eyes when he came out. And I thought that was pretty telling.
I wouldn't say it's 1,000-yard stare. I say it's 1,000 years stare. I just saw some shit that I really have to dissect. Also, the lady that I had sex with previously, she's the cause of all of this.
Yeah, I bet he got some big surprises there to see his old pal Lanfear. So he knows a few things about her now. I think they'll have a nice conversation later. But yeah, I can't say how much I love this episode. And I'm very much looking forward to hearing you talk about it, because you have your watch along we've been discussing. Somebody's calling me now to do a watch along. So that's all I have for this episode, James. Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to go over before we wrap up here?
This might be an episode that I watch again. I'll probably, next week, I might turn it back on, especially before watching the next one, even though I'm pretty sure the next 3 or 4 episodes will just be, we are only focusing on one party member or one group of the party, because I know eventually we'll get one that focuses just on Perrin. So I would assume one that focuses on just Matt and Nynaeve.
Yeah, safe assumption. I hope that's the case. You'll find out soon. Some of us might already know the answers to this. But yeah, we'll be talking again soon. And yeah, I do think you should watch the episode again without having to take notes, without having to be funny, just to take it all in, because so much is learned in this episode about the Aiel, Tuatha, and Rand and Moraine's relationship with each other and how that spans out to everyone else.
Mm-hmm. And I can I'll just fast forward to the point where he goes into the big pillars and then just start there.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't really a good episode to ask you who your favorite character was or anything like that. So I'm going to skip that for now, James. We'll do that maybe next episode. But for this episode, did you have any plugs before we head out of here?
Guys, just head over to patreon.com/MLMPOD, MLM Pod, and listen to the watch along. That's at any tier, but $5, you get stuff every single week. I don't know what this Friday will be. It's probably Citizens of Townsville Z. We're banking these, so I just have to assume. But Steve will be on next month, or I guess this month of May, for a literary speedrun where I found a time-traveling choose-your-own-adventure book, and that's what we'll be covering on that literary speedrun, where I and a guest try to speedrun a choose-your-own-adventure book.
That's another Patreon plug right there, because you only listen to that if you're an MLM Pod Patreon member. And so I'm all over those things, baby. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me again, James. Thanks for watching the episode with me, and I look forward to hearing your watch along. And until next week, keep on finding that water and shade and shoes. Bye.
Bye.